Good morning, it's time for another music video. Those who have followed my channel for any length of time will know that I have been doing ranking videos for every year that I've been collecting music. I started way back in 1967. I'm now up to 2016. But I just want to make a bit of a point about the fact that the last decade, really from 2013 onwards, ranking top 10 videos each year has become more and more problematic, mainly because I haven't listened to enough of the albums released in that year. And those that I have listened to, I haven't really listened repeatedly. So it's a bit difficult to actually rank your top 10. So that point needs to be taken into account as we decide on this video to rank my top 10. Now, what I will be doing while I scratch my foot, I will be delivering some honourable mentions as well in this top 10. And it's fair to say that these honourable mentions would probably, I would probably put them all at number 11 because it'd be a bit difficult to actually rank them in order, 11, 12, 13 or whatever. So with that in mind, I guess it's about time we got on with the video. So the first of my honourable mentions in this 2016 ranking video is Night Thoughts by the British band Suede. Now, the release of this album coincided with the David Bowie release, which is significant because Suede have certainly made it quite clear throughout their recording career how much they looked up to Bowie. And their release coincided with Bowie's release. More about that a bit later. And also, 3 years ago, they released Bloodsports, which was their reunion album, at the same time as Bowie released his New Year Day, which was also a sort of an album that had come after a very long period of inactivity. This album, Night Thoughts, is very much a bit of a eulogy from a favourite son to Bowie, their father. It's got speckled guitar riffs, an abundance of anthems and concerts, hall crumbling ballads, and Suede's sound was pretty much set with their first two albums, the 93 snappy, scrappy self-titled debut, and the following year, the darkly ornate Dot Man Star. A record about addiction, this Night Thoughts, to be sure, but to an intoxicant, perhaps more elusive, more potent and damaging than any street dug. We're talking about desire, particularly in adolescence. So let's get on with a brief look at some of these tracks. It opens with When You Are Young, with a classical intro. Yeah, it sounds a little bit like inspired by Yes, but then the band open their shoulders and we are in Arida mode. Track two's Outsiders. It segues in with the Edge style guitar layered, ecstatic highs. And the ecstasy here is virginity finally being discarded. Again, a nod to adolescent boy meets girl stuff. No Tomorrow is track 3. No surprises here. Classic Suede with Anderson's high-pitch vocal driving the Britpop feel. And then we got Pale Snow. Atmospheric guitars awash here with Anderson's impassioned vocal. You sense you're back in the crowded arena, really, hanging on every word. Resonating keyboards as well. Link in with track 5, I Don't Know How to Reach You. The lead guitar dominates the flow and the feel to this song, and Anderson grabs the attention with his lyric-grabbing urgency. What I'm trying to tell you, very much ditto. Spoken Word interjects, and then we got Tightrope, which is a rock ballad. Each cut sounds more desperate, really, more anxious about relationship success. And then we've got Learning to Be. Very much self-doubt looms as the guitars blaze over the vocals. The outro recalls innocence of being kids. And that segues into Like Kids. The sounds becomes very free-flowing, tension off, and Anderson whips up an excited frenzy as the band rocks and fittingly ends with Kids Chants. Right, let's just get this segued in so we can continue. Yes, I have got a script. I'm 69, so I can't remember all this stuff. Track 10 is I Can't Give Her What She Wants. I love this track. Anderson's despairing admission ignites a guitar break that almost made me weep. And then When You Were Young, which of course is bookended with the opener, which was, of course, present tense, when we are young. And the orchestral returns with Anderson's reflection on maybes. And then the final track is The Fur and the Feathers, a swashbuckling orchestrally laid ballad, which is the finale. Moving and symbolic. Great guitar again. So there we are. That's the first honourable mention. Wow. Took ages. Now, I'll try to make this briefer. Second honourable mention is the Red Hot Chili Peppers, The Getaway. It's their 11th studio album. And what have we got here? Well, we've got funk, rock, soul and rock and roll. 70s style orchestral soul and funky psychedelia here. And guitarist, the new one, Josh Klinghoffer, continues to impress since replacing Frusciante. There's no Rick Rubin in the production room either. And he'd been around for a considerable time with the Chili's, right back to the beginning of the new millennium. Just a few comments of a few traps. The opening song is The Getaway. Flea's bass appears from the off, and it's very riffy, and Anthony jumps on it, and there's some feminine harmonies which shine, very disco-like. Dark Necessities has some scorching guitar work, and it revs up the beat. I'm going to move to Sick Love now, which is track 6, a collaboration here with one Elton John on piano. And the lyrics to this song written by one Bernie Taupin. It's an album standout, bringing to mind 70s era Isley Brothers. And then Go Robot is next up, very electro-infected 80s sound. And there's another 6 tracks, but I can't make this video too long. So that's my brief look at that Red Hot Chili Peppers album. Okay, next up is Leonard Cohen, You Want It Darker. This was his 14th studio album. Very much a form of epitaph as he approached the end of his life. He was 82 years old when he recorded this. And there's 9 lovely little vignettes. The music eases you into a state of tranquil inquisitiveness, alongside some gorgeous female harmonies and those stripped-back acoustics and strings. And then there are, of course, Leonard's tales, the characters. It drips of wise words about love, faith, mystery, and passing on. To my next honourable mention, Frank Ocean. This is called Blonde. 4 years after the excellent Channel Orange, the critics observed that this captured what you need to know about Blonde. These songs are not for marching to, but they still serve a purpose. They're about everyday lives, about the feat of just existing, which is a statement in its own right. He refers to Trayvon Martin, who would be 21, and he was, of course, a victim of police brutality. The album's filled with feelings and ideas deep in love, heady philosophy, despondency, loss, and he refers to Trayvon as a person that never had a chance to experience many of those emotions himself. The stories that Frank tells here find solace, really, in sorrow. They're fucked up and lonely, but not indulgent. They offer views into unseen places and overlooked souls, and they console, they bleed, and yes, they cry. Next honourable mention is an album by Richard Ashcroft, called These People. This, of course, Richard Ashcroft, was the former singer with the Brit-pop type band The Verve. And here he's reuniting with Will Malone, who was an orchestrator who worked on Urban Hymns and Northern Soul, two of The Verve's best albums. Ashcroft taps into sophistication, favouring arena anthems, and finely tailored Euro disco. Also, dance, beats and electronics are a bid for really hit credibility here, but he winds up with sounds that aren't the ideal vehicle for this message. However, These People is a pleasing adult alternative record. True, it favours mood over form, but the cool assurance and shiny veneer is quite welcome. Just a couple of tracks to talk about. The opener, Out of My Body, disco rhythms with orchestral overtures. Track 2 is This Is How It Feels. More Verve-like material here. And I heard a bit of bittersweet symphony in there. 3 is They Don't Own Me. Dabs of delicate guitar above the swirling arrangements, and it works. And track 4 is Hold On. More strident rock here, aka arena style. And the title track toned down this rock ballad, which echoes the Verve's Britpop work. So there you have it. That's These People by Richard Ashcroft. And the last of my honourable mentions is Wonderful Crazy Night by Elton John. This album succeeds in recreating the rootsy Americana of Elton's youth with help from his touring band. Co-producer is T-Bone Burnett, who was also involved in The Union, an album Elton did with Leon Russell. And, of course, he's got Benny Taupin there to create all the lyrics. John's touring band making their first studio appearance since 06's The Captain and the Kid. The band brings a bit of a kick to the proceedings, and the ever-tasteful Burnett reins things in, keeping things from being too crazy. And lyricist Taupin schemes with John as usual. John's long-standing percussionist Ray Cooper also makes his first appearance on a John album since Made in England in 1985. A brief look at the tracks. The title track opens very much driven by Elton's honky piano style, and it really bounces and swaggers. Track 2, In the Name of You. More hints of nostalgia here. Davy Johnson's guitar solo reminds me of 70s Elton. And then Claw Hammer, very grand and stately, not that memorable. And Blue Wonderful is a bit more of the same. I've Got Two Wings, however, has a nice gentle beat that mingles with Taupin's lyrics to nurse the listener into a slumber or flight. And then we've got A Good Height, slow piano-led ballad here with strings, a meat and drink for Elton, but it's croony and emotionally laden. And then Looking Up, quicker tempo here, sees Elton whipping up the band in a rock and roll like atmosphere. More gravel and grit in his voice these days, though. And then we've got, we move on to Tambourine, mid-tempo ballad, gorgeous guitar break again by Johnson. I've always liked Johnson's style. And then the close of the open chord, country-style ballad, which, of course, Elton does extremely well. So that's my honourable mentions.